This hard tech corridor will be economic engine for growing economic prosperity and a vibrant job creating corridor. So it's the corridor for jobs, it's the corridor for innovation, it's the corridor for workforce and talents.
We are moving ahead aggressively to address all the wonderful things that are going to be happening at IU Indianapolis. Really focusing on growing the science tech corridor, where we'll both be training the workforce that we need, as well as really ramping up research and discovery.
The presidents of IU and Purdue weighing in on what will be Indiana and Purdue universities here in Indianapolis as IUPUI goes away. As we begin our final segment, talking about the new economy, solar, electric vehicles, microelectronics. The presidents of IU and Purdue think those universities in Indianapolis will be a big part of that future growth. Mike, your take on that?
No, absolutely. I mean, Purdue in particular is one of the R&D leaders globally. And in these sectors, those create a lot of jobs. They are also producing human capital, and which is really the growth engine. The bachelor's degree and higher degree is the growth engine of this modern economy that they both talked about. And so those and other state universities, importantly Ball State and Indiana State, are going to play a big role in this, both geographically in those areas where the spillovers will occur and statewide in producing this talent.
Looking at the largest solar farm in the country in northwest Indiana, we'll talk about that in a moment, but Robin, the LEAP Innovation District, another big story in the first half of the year in Lebanon. Big development. Lily, we saw Dave Ricks earlier in the show talking about the big investment there. That investment, a potential $50 billion microelectronics plant that Indiana is apparently one of 2 Midwest states in the running for it. Is that going to transform that LEAP district, in your view, be transformative?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Everything from Zionsville, Lebanon, all the way to Thorntown and places like that is going to change because of this. Coming down the 65 spine is going to change. The good thing about having Brad Chambers there, his background in Buckingham, I hope will permeate, and he'll talk about housing needed for these workers. Because devoid of that, you're going to have people making a long transition up the road to jobs. Hopefully they'll want to do that. Yeah. But I think that definitely makes a difference. The last area is just the pure natural resources. Getting enough water to that plant is something that's got to be a regional water study of what we're doing for our natural resources.
Yeah, you mentioned housing, huge issue all over the state of Indiana. Mike, you talk about alternative energy, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation putting a big focus. Mammoth Solar, that facility up in northwest Indiana, largest in the country. Hydrogen is a big push. The potential for a hydrogen hub in northwest Indiana, BP investing, I think, $4 billion up there. Can Indiana be a player in the energy movement, in your view?
Indiana has to be a player. When you look at these jobs and the investments and the size and scope we're talking about, it's going to require not just massive amounts of water, as Robin notes, but power as well. And so by no means is solar and hydrogen going to be the solution in that, but it's going to be an important part of the mix. So that's really important. And I also would piggyback on what Dr. Hicks was saying about the importance of research. And when you look at that corridor, not just the 65 corridor, but you look at I-69 getting completed from Bloomington to Indianapolis, and you look at the powerhouse research and innovation that comes out of IU, both in Bloomington and with a new leader in research with IU Indianapolis, I think we're moving in positive directions along that whole stretch that we're talking about in kind of the deliverables for the state and our economy.
Mike, give you the final word. Mike Marker talks about I-69, takes you down to Crane, and the amazing things going on there from a research technology standpoint. I think that area there, very rural, but has one of the highest populations of STEM workers during the week. How big is Crane potentially in Indiana's economic future?
You know, very large. National security demands aren't going away. Crane has been selected by the Navy to stick around to provide those R&D. So really the important part here is that communities, to take advantage of this R&D, have to be places that, as Robin said, people want to live and can live, that they have the resources for them to build a life, not just housing, but good schools. That's really how you take advantage of the R&D that's going to happen at IU, Bloomington, Ball State, regardless of whether or not the communities are ready to take advantage of it.